Hello, I'm Gareth Jones. Welcome to our Leeds United preview video looking ahead to the trip to Wigan. That's going to be, as always, exclusive FM commentary on BBC Radio Leeds with the man to my left, Adam Pope, and former Leeds United striker Noel Whelan. Slightly different, only ever so slightly, this coming Saturday. The fact that it's going to start a bit earlier on 92.4 FM and 103.9 FM. Our build-up to the game will start at about 1:45 on Saturday, so please join us from then. Popey, first of all, team news. Who is available, who is not for the trip to the DW?
Well, as expected, Rudy Austin is still unfit. He's had this thigh problem. It might not be as long as 3 weeks before he comes back. That's the sort of news we're getting from Neil Redfearn, but it doesn't look like he's going to be ready for the Wigan game. So Forest maybe the week after. The big worry would have been Billy Sharp. Came off at the end of scoring the winning goal with an ankle knock, but straight away Neil Redfearn said, look, he'll be fine for Saturday. They are monitoring it. I think he'll be okay. Played 2 games, scored 2 goals, and you can tell he's in that little rich vein. He's getting that momentum he needs. So I would be more surprised if he didn't play than if he did.
So, kind of selection headaches are a positive kind for Redfearn because Morrison's fit and available again, having come on at the end of the game in midweek against Ipswich. Then you had the fairly successful back four of all centre-backs, which was deliberately picked to do a job against Ipswich. So do you think they'll keep their places, or is it a different job against Wigan?
Well, it was a specific setup, wasn't it? As you say, the height to combat a very physical Ipswich Town side, and it worked. So the thing is, it had to happen, I suppose, as well, because there's no Rudy Austin, and I don't think there's another player that can really fill Rudy Austin. So he's had to manufacture around that. He could go with the same defence. Why not? It beat a decent Ipswich side if you look at where they are on the table. Charlie Taylor looks comfortable playing further forward on the left, and also it gave them the option of bringing on Antonucci to go alongside, if you like, Sharp, or Morrison to go alongside Sharp as well. So there is flexibility there. So he might go with the same rather than just leave, say, like a 4-2-3-1 scenario. And talking about Antonucci, probably the major contribution he's made for months was at the weekend. On Wednesday night, because I thought he actually helped turn the momentum of the game a little bit, and they looked a bit more threatening. So it's flexible. Will he change it? I don't know. He's got 2 options now, hasn't he? He's got 4-2-3-1, or does he go with that very, very big back four of centre-backs?
Yeah, good to have a few plans. Don't know about the rest of you. I've tried to blank out the Boxing Day defeat to Wigan, which was their first victory under Malky Mackay. Awful game, awful performance, awful result. And now Wigan are actually better than back then because they've started to get a little bit of form going as they try to get out of the relegation zone, having looked doomed. So what do you expect from them?
Well, they've gone and turned over Norwich last time out, which is incredible. This will be tough. Horrible pitch as well. Jason Pearce in the side, having gone. And by the way, Neil Redfearn's talked very glowingly about him. So obviously it's going to be quite a battle, I think. It's going to remind me of, that run that Leeds had, and then they go to Brighton, who were struggling down the bottom. It's probably going to be like they've got to get out the mindset of playing a top side in Ipswich, or a top 6 side like Ipswich, down to a side that's really trying to dig it out. And they've not lost it, or they've not won at home, have they, since August, Wigan? That is definitely a trend that Leeds want to keep going. I do expect them to win. And I think if they do, that's game over in terms of safety. Even if it is okay already, I think that will definitely sort it out for Leeds.
As always at Leeds United, not just about matters on the field, it's about matters off the field. Signings again, and the lack of them at Leeds United has been mentioned at Friday's press conference. This is what Neil Redfearn had to say when asked again about the signings or lack of them at United.
It's all been talked about, and it's passed over now for me. It's a case of getting on with it, and like I said, we've got good balance through a squad as regards young players that can perhaps come in as well, and we can look at them. So we need to move on. We need to concentrate on the game on Saturday, which is the most important thing. Your next game is always the most important thing. And like I said, we've got players that can play 1 or 2 positions, which was nice to find out the other night. And it gives the lads that play out, in different positions, different facets to the game, which again I think is important.
So that's what Neil Redfearn has had to say on Friday ahead of the game against Wigan regarding the signings. What do you make to what he had to say and the whole situation now?
Well, he can't say any more. And if I'm being honest, I think there's been a bit of pressure from above to say don't say any more. All Neil has done is offered up his thoughts. And let's face it, Neil's choices have been excellent this season so far. picking his own players that he knows. He knows what works. They've got to listen to him. He's not being listened to, and there's no action being taken to bring those players in. So now it's a case of having to make do and mend with what he has. I think it's difficult. They talk about it being a big squad. I don't think it is. In actual players that are suitable to play in the Championship, he hasn't got a massive squad to choose from. All credit to him. He's done a magnificent job, and I think it's really undermining, actually, that he hasn't been able to bring in players that could actually make it that little bit better, even in the short term. Hopefully, in the longer term, that'll be sorted in the summer, but we don't know if that's going to be the case.
Finally, we almost got through a whole week without talking about Massimo Cellino and a whole preview video without doing it, but we have to talk about the Italian less than 24 hours after his ban was extended to the end of the season from owning Leeds United by the Football League. Does that have any effect, or is it still business as normal?
Well, the thing is that the business, if you like, that the fans want to see is players and contracts being secured and going forward. That isn't happening until the summer. So at the moment, there is no real business being done that fans can see. I'm sure there's a lot behind the scenes. For Neil, it is carry on as normal, and I think it's been quite weird not having Massimo around. So the truth is, guys, we don't know whether he's really going to come back on May the 4th. What happens if he picks up another ban in the meantime with another court case? That's the problem. And I just think that air of not knowing is really difficult around the football club at the moment. Who really has the power to make major decisions going forward for Leeds United that can secure the stability into next season? Because my fear would be they finish really well this season with a really good young crop of players, and then don't secure them, and the next season starts off as an absolute mare. And that they just cannot afford to do that anymore.
So Leeds at Wigan on Saturday. Join us on BBC Radio Leeds. Me, Gareth Jones, Adam Pope and Noel Whelan. 1:45 for full build-up to that exclusive FM commentary. 92.4 FM and 103.9 FM.